Okay, thank you for that, Brett. So with that, we are now recording, and I will ask for a resolution to come out of camera, please.
Resolved that as per section 152.4 of the Municipal Act, Council of the Rural Municipality of St. Clements does now resume sitting a regular meeting.
Moved by Councillor Boulanger, second by Councillor Sutherland. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So now we can start our planning hearings, and the first one we have is variation order, but before we start, I would like a resolution to enter into our public hearing, please.
Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be opened for variation order number 94-2021.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Corbis, Councillor Bazarowicz seconds. Discussion. Hearing and seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so this is variation order number 94 of 2021. And Pawan, if you could please walk us through that application.
Thank you much, Madam Mayor. Yes, the first item for public hearing is variation 94-2021, located on 50 Aguilar Trail. The variance application on the subject property in the general development zone is to allow the following variances. One is to increase the building height for an accessory building, which is a garage that they're proposing on the property, from 15 feet to 16 feet. And two, to increase the number of accessory buildings from 2 to 3 in order to allow a proposed garage on the property. The subject property located on the end of the Aguilar Trail cul-de-sac is currently about 3.9 acres in size. It is developed with a pool house, shipping container building in the back, as well as the applicant proposing a new garage, which would be approximately 28 by 36 in size, or 1,008 square feet, with a maximum building height proposed at 16 feet. There is a limit of 2 accessory buildings in all residential zones, so the applicant is seeking a variance on section 3.24 of the bylaw in order to allow a third garage. Currently, there is an existing storage container in the back part of the property, and the applicant would be also seeking to get a permit for that container as well. Based on the size of the property, we have no really concerns with regards to the number of buildings, as well as it appears that the applicant will be meeting all required setback distances and other requirements from the bylaw. As noted for council, we have noted some conditions regarding the garage that it be limited to personal use only and not to be used as habitable space. Should council approve this application, and I'm just going to go over some of the drawings here as well for this garage. The applicant owner it would require the following, we recommend the following conditions for council's consideration. Number 1, this variance is limited to a maximum accessory building height of 16 feet for a proposed 28 by 36 garage, and to increase the total number of accessory buildings from to 3 as presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require a new variance approval. Number 2, the applicant obtains all required permits from the Red River Planning District. And number 3, the use of the proposed garage and all accessory buildings are for personal use only and not to be used as habitable space. And that is all I have to say on that.
Thank you for that. Any questions from members of council to the planner? Okay, I believe that I have the applicants in the audience. Was there anything that you wanted to share with council at this time?
No, everything that Alan just mentioned is correct.
Okay, I guess I just have one question, and it's more out of curiosity than anything. That container that you have at the back of the property,
Yes.
did you get a permit for that, or was it just brought in?
No, I brought it in. I didn't know I could get a permit, but I spoke with Powell already, and I will be getting a permit.
You'll be getting a permit for that?
Yes.
And your new garage that you are wanting to construct, that will be for personal use only?
Yes.
Okay, because I believe it's in the resolution that it's not to be habitable at all.
No.
Anything else from members of council? Pawan, did you have any other correspondence from anybody? We don't have anything on our dockets here, so I'm suspecting that there is nothing else.
Madam Mayor, we didn't receive any.
Thank you. So with that, we can close the public hearing if there are no more questions on variation order number 94 of 2021, and then we can deal with it.
Resolve the public hearing for variation order 94-2021 council be reconvened.
Moved by Counselor Bazarowitz, second by Counselor Sutherland. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, if council's ready to deal with it, we can have our CAO read the resolution for us, please.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 35156, legally described as Lot 4, Block 1, Plan 46371, and located at 50 Garner Trail, has made an application for variation order 94-2021 for accessory building height, proposed garage from 15 feet mean height to 16 feet maximum, number of allowable accessory buildings in residential zones from 2 maximum to 3 maximum. Purpose: the applicant is requesting council's approval to increase the maximum required height and the number of allowable accessory buildings on the subject property with a GD general development zone. Therefore, be it resolved, variation order 94 of 2021 be approved with the following conditions. The variance is limited to a maximum accessory building height of 16 feet for a proposed 28 by 36 foot garage, to an increase the total number of accessory buildings to 3 as presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require new variance approval. Applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District. And finally, the use of the proposed garage and all accessory buildings are for personal use only and not to be used as habitable space. This order shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Strang, second Counselor Horbis. Discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, we do have a couple of subdivisions on our docket tonight, but there is no public hearing required. So the first one I have is file number S212914 at 76073 2 Mile Road. And if you could go through that one, please, Colin.
Yes, the next item for council's attention today is subdivision application S212914, located at 76073 2 Mile Road, under roll number 315310. This is to create 2 proposed lots from an existing property within the agricultural limited zone. The subject property, approximately 9.3 acres in size, is located on the west side of the PTH 59, to the north of the road 5970 North, and to the east, to the west of the property is 2 Mile Road, and to the east is PTH 59, and to the north is Road 77. The property currently is developed with buildings, as indicated on the aerial, as well as on the applicant's site plan, which the applicant is proposing to create 2 lots, a residual lot of roughly 6.115 acres, and a proposed lot of 3.231 acres. The application, as presented, does not meet the development plan and zoning bylaw requirements. Therefore, the Red River Planning Office, from policy perspectives, is recommending not to approve the subdivision. There are a few things that council may want to note for this property and this application. For received comments, council should note that members of agriculture and resource development had no concerns. Surrounding context around the existing property currently is a 2-acre property located directly north of the subject property, as well as a 3.1-acre property which is belonging to Manitoba Hydro, located directly south of the subject property. There are also numerous properties across the 2 Mile Road, within the suburban residential zone. However, in order to support this application, the applicant should seek redesignation of the land to develop, redesignate the land in the development plan, then rezone the land to meet the proposed lot sizes. From past history of the property, council may want to note that the applicant was previously granted a variance approval in 2011 to allow a home industry use with exterior storage of trailers as part of the use. Then in 2015, this use was expanded and was given a 5-year approval, which was set to expire on July 28th of 2020. A development agreement with the municipality set the parameters for the owner to return the use, current variance use to 2011. If the subdivision is granted approval and all conditions are satisfied for registration, the home industry use granted in 2011 is no longer valid, and as the approval applies to the present property, which is the property as is right now. It is our understanding that the applicant owner's son and daughter-in-law may have intention of continuing to operate the business on proposed lot 1, which is where the one-story building currently locates at. Future owners should seek policy amendment approval for the development plan as zoning bylaw to owners to allow trailer business continuing on the property. Please note that proposed lot 2, as per the subdivision application, does have dual frontage, and we want to note from our analysis that there are some exceptions that council can make to address dual frontage, where there are cases such as impractical or unreasonable. And when we're viewing this, generally the frontage on a proposed lot 2, which is the residual lot in the SAM, does have current access to 2 Mile Road. And we received comments from Management Infrastructure, which had indicated they will not be supporting or giving any accesses to PTH 59. So in this case, we did not recommend any dual frontage condition be added if council decides to approve this application. If granted approval, variances will be required, and a condition has been noted for council's attention regarding variances. Council also may want to note that this SAM that was provided to our office is from 2018, and that there are actually buildings on the residual lot which have not been indicated. We did receive comments from the applicant surveyor, which said that these buildings are more than 50 feet from the proposed property line, and they indicated that it was not necessary to include them. So if council requires further information on this or an updated SAM, such as from 2021, then we recommend the application be tabled until such time the applicant provides the updated SAM. And finally, comments received from Manitoba Conservation Climate has indicated that all existing sewer ejectors, and there's 2 of them that indicate on the SAM, will be required to be decommissioned, and a condition has been noted for council's attention. Madam Mayor, at this point, do you want me to go over all the conditions that we have?
I think at this point in time, that's fine.
Okay.
If council chooses to go ahead with this, we can have them read at that time, so. Okay, any questions from members of council to the planner? Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
I'm just trying to, looking at the pictures here, because I know on the property, when we're talking about, is there a house trailer sitting in there? No, to some other buildings? There's the home where you had the business. That's to the south. And if I remember correctly, there's something, I think a house trailer or something put in there.
Well,
I'd like to see a different picture.
yeah, I think.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think as Powen mentioned, the SAM that we got is not up to date. Now, if I remember correctly, the applicant's home, if you could go just to the SAM rather than the aerial, Powen, that one. Okay, if I remember correctly, the owner's house is on lot 1, or lot 1, plan 4343-1. So in that, I guess it would be the northeast corner. Now, the business is, from what I recall, is on proposed lot. On the proposed lot, that's where the business is. There's a new building there, and there's all sorts of trailers and things there.
There's a house there too, though, right?
Yes, there is.
But I'm talking north of there now.
Yes, north of there.
A house or a trailer? Well, here's the original, I can't see it, this is not up to date. First, the house is built, and then there's a couple of buildings put up
Right,
for their business, their
Yeah.
industry there.
yeah.
And then north of there, there's some other buildings being put in. I believe there's a house trailer there.
Yes.
Okay, so what we'll do is, if we can get the questions answered, I see that the applicant is in the audience, so maybe we'll just let him explain, but go ahead, Councillor
I know
Belanger.
what Councillor Sutherland's talking about. It's not the applicant's property, it's further north, and we approved that a couple of years ago.
Okay, so
It's
it's
not-
someone else's
yeah.
property, it's to the north of
It's
this.
a big gravelled area with a trailer, Councillor Sutherland?
No, I don't know if we're talking about the,
Okay.
Okay,
just
well,
something seems different here.
well, first of all, Pawan, I have a question for you. You said this SAM is from 2014 or 2015?
2018.
18, do you
Yeah.
not require an up-to-date, Sam? Because I know that this one does not have a lot of the buildings on it, because I believe that there are now buildings on the residual parcel, and I believe you had mentioned that.
There is, and this is what the applicants are, where we did reach out to them.
Okay.
And they said that it's not necessary. So that's what we did, we'll bring it to council's attention.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess in their mind, maybe it's not necessary, but it's kind of hard for council to make a decision when we don't have the up-to-date information, especially when we know that there have been changes, like we drive by there quite often, so.
Yeah.
Any questions for Powen, or shall I have the applicant plead his case? Okay, Mr. Sala, did you want to just bring us up to date on what you're doing there and which buildings are on which piece of property?
As the council member mentioned about the horse traders, that's north of me, that belongs to somebody else. I'm on this side of 77, I'm on the south side of 77, and I put up a shop there 4 or 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm getting to the point now where I just turned 72 years old, and it's time for me to relax and pass this on to my son. I don't want to give him the house, of course, then I want to have a place to live. So I'm planning to gift that to that part that I'm want to subdivide, give that to my son and my daughter-in-law. Because now I'm retired now, I'm on a fixed income, and the taxes are almost $1,000 a month for the whole property. And if you don't operate a business, there's no way I can afford that on my pension. So my plan is to pass it on to the kids. They can carry on the business and be able to afford the taxes.
So are you planning to pass on the parcel that has the business on it, or
Yes.
the residual parcel, the
Yes.
6.1 acres?
Yeah, the 3 point,
Okay, where the business is?
yes.
And the residual you're planning on keeping or disposing of, or?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure what council would like to do. Would you like Paul to read the conditions of the subdivision if council wishes to approve it? I mean, they are saying that they're not supporting it, and I guess the last comment that I would make, and I believe Pawan did say it, if we approve this, then the conditional use is dead. They won't be able to carry on the business
Yeah, it's a variance
or
application.
variance.
Yeah, so they first of all, they'll have to return, they have to return in 2011. And
Okay.
so hopefully that is the case, because they expired last year. They can run it up until they register. Once they, register the title, then no longer, we get new titles.
Right,
And then they essentially will have to seek a new business approval and go through all the applications that need to be done. So, yeah, that would be something that they have to be aware of.
okay. Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
My question to the applicant is he aware of that information, that if he goes through with his subdivision, or if we approve it, that would be the process his son would have to go through, is reapply for a conditional use?
Or
for that.
variation
Or
to have that
variation,
business
yes.
there.
Just want to make sure he does.
Yeah, so Mr. Sala, did you catch that? If we approve this tonight, once the new plan is registered, your family, your son and daughter-in-law would have to reapply
Yes,
for the variation to have that business on that property?
yeah, I realize that. I talked to them about it, they're fine with that.
Go ahead, Paul,
So,
sorry.
remember, like I said, we would have to review the use, because the last use was granted as a use that did not exist in the table. And
Okay.
So this may have been granted at a time when the bylaw had allowed variance to do so through, so they may have to seek amendments
To the zoning bylaw.
to development plan and
To the-
zoning bylaw, yeah,
okay.
that is correct. And so that would be how we would support the application, so.
Okay, thank you for that.
So-
Councillor Horvath and then Councillor Boulanger.
So, isn't it in the bylaw that you have to, if you have a business, you have to have a home on that property with it? Would they be able to get a variance or that to just run his business with it?
That is an option, it depends on what the, again, we have to see what the business entails, but sometimes it can come under home industry, but we'd have to, again, in order to be a home industry, you need like obviously a
I
home.
wouldn't wanna see him
Yeah,
go through all this, split it up, and then he couldn't run his business anymore. Maybe there's some way, other way that he could keep it all into there and just lease it to his son and then transfer it over later, you know? That way, he wouldn't have all this expense or that, you know? That's just a thought, you know?
Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
In my mind, there's a lot here that I don't think has been researched or gone through yet, and I just don't want the applicant to, I don't want us to go through this process of approving this, and as Councillor Horvath said, the individual then goes back to the drawing board, says he wants his son to take over the business, and then has to go through more hoops that Mr. Planner's indicated, and then realizes that they can't have a business there, for some, whatever reason they come up with. I think
Right.
more thought needs to go into this for the applicant's advantage here. So I think they should look at all those hoops they gotta jump through, make sure that it is doable, that the son can take over the business, and if he can, and it is doable, then come back and.
Right. I guess the question that I have, and Paula, if you could explain, like, if we talked about a development plan amendment and a zoning bylaw change, like, that is quite the process. Can you perhaps just explain how many months that may take to get a development plan amendment, if that's required, and a zoning bylaw change?
well, the development plan amendment is something that would have to be deal with the regular planning board.
Right.
So, that would, and I don't know the months, because it ultimately needs minister approval,
Okay,
but, it would first have to go through the board, and through that process is a couple of months to just be hearing from the board. And once the board hears the application, then a decision can go to the minister if they approve the amendment for this property.
right,
Then once amendments seek, then they can seek a zone, like a commercial zone, like for example, if it was redesignated to a settlement center type of designation,
right,
then they can seek a commercial zone that fit the needs of businesses. Not only this property, but even the residual, if they wanted to do that.
okay.
A redesignation or rezoning would probably also could support the subdivision as well, which would be, as I noted earlier in our report. But at this point, it's up to the applicant to, if that is the ultimate goal to take the business, and it's up to them. Otherwise, they still have, council could still prove it as is, and we can deal with the use when the time needs to be done. Because what's on the council agenda right now is not use, it's the subdivision.
Right.
Yeah.
Pawan, you had a question, go ahead, please. No, not Pawan, Deepak. She's been here too long today.
Pawan, when you're looking at a development plan amendment, I think the applicant needs to understand that they're probably going to need to do a fair amount of research and do some studies and reports in order, because the development plan has just been adopted for the RM. And to seek an amendment to that, you'll have to go in and do appropriate research. And so it may be a lot, and I think we want to be realistic. Like 2 months would be just as a process within board approval, but there could be as much as 6 to 8 months of work ahead of that before it even shows up at the board. I think that he needs to understand what that could mean.
And Mr. Sala, I see you had your hand up, go ahead.
Yes, the councillor
Horvath.
was correct. There would be a problem if there wouldn't be any living quarters on there, I realize that, but there are living quarters on that building already. The building is 64 by 64. The living quarters are 16 by 64 on the south side. So that kind of takes care of that problem.
Pawan shaking his head, no.
Well, I kind of don't
Sorry.
believe that when that was approved, there were to be living quarters in
Yeah.
that
Well,
building.
All the-
Unfortunately, it's an accessory building that was issued by the,
Right,
and should not be,
it should not be habitable.
yeah, so.
I just don't wanna see you go through all
I
this
know, I understand.
and then see you know, that you got this and it's useless. Is there no way you and your son could maybe just make a deal and he just make sure he pays your taxes for you or something? I mean, I don't know, just
Yeah.
trying to help him.
Yeah, I know. Councillor
I
Boulanger.
understand what Mr. Planner is saying, that this discussion isn't revolving around use, it's revolving around subdivision.
Right,
The problem is that what's revolving around the subdivision is a business as well.
yes.
That's what's making this challenging, and that's what's making it, the unknown is still there for the applicant. Which
Exactly.
what I was saying, to take this, so more information, just my suggestion.
And I believe I heard Councillor Sutherland also say that we should table it, and I would
Yes.
have to agree with that, because we just don't have enough information, and we don't want to approve the subdivision. If council so chose to approve the subdivision, there's gonna be lots more hoops for you to jump through. We would sooner have you go through some of that process before it comes back to us. So, go ahead, Rob.
And for the applicant, it doesn't necessarily mean he's not gonna get what he's looking for. He can achieve what he could achieve what he's looking for.
Right.
So I don't wanna discourage him walking away here tonight that this can't still happen. We just need more information.
That's correct, and I guess now that Mr. Sala has said that there are living quarters in that other building, that's another problem, because that building was approved as an accessory building. In our accessory buildings, anywhere in the municipality, they are not to be habitable.
Like when I went through the planning board, I submitted the plans and they give me a building permit and everything else to put that up.
To put it up,
Yes.
but did you advise them that there was gonna be somebody living in there? Well, they don't have that on record, and I don't believe that that's what came to council.
I'll dig it.
Okay, so the wish is then we hold this over and Mr. Sala can work with the planning board to see what we can come up with. Is that fair to say, Paula?
To table it in terms of, future business,
Ramifications.
ramifications?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can work with the applicant to learn about
Okay.
the process and stuff and go over some of the building issues.
Okay, do we have to put a date that we're holding it over till?
Would you like a date?
I don't know what would be, I guess we would first of all see what he's comfortable with and come back with whatever information we can.
Well, yeah, we are getting kind of to the end of our year here, so we have only 2 planning meetings left, I guess, one on the 16th of November, and then one
Possibly on the 14th of December.
possibly the 14th of December, which is our regular meeting, and we may just have some planning items on there just to, because it is the end of the year.
Yeah, we can bring it back and see, we'll work with the applicant.
Okay,
Because we're gonna find some new information on the property.
Table it without a date.
okay, so we're just gonna table it without a date in case it does take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
If we're bringing it back, can we bring up an updated SAM too on it?
If the applicant
Goes
can
further
get an
with it?
updated SAM, that would probably help us a little bit too, because then we could see what's on the property existing. And I know you just want to subdivide, but we need to know what's on that parcel that you say is residual, because I think there's some buildings on that parcel too, is there not?
Well, I talked to the surveyor, he says he usually doesn't include the buildings that are on residual.
Well, I think in this case, council needs to know what's on that property and what you're using those buildings for, because we've just found out that you do have a building that's being habitable that shouldn't be habitable. So I think council needs to know exactly what you have there.
It's been like that since day one.
Go ahead, Colin.
And if that part could be put in the resolution, so at least the surveyors know that this is.
That we need a new
Yeah,
sound,
yeah, so
okay.
in case there's another, 2019,
Right, yeah,
2017 application. then-
Current.
Yeah.
okay. I think DPAC is just getting some information from the staff.
Excuse me, Mayor, Debbie, are we free to leave?
Yes, you are. I was afraid to leave. Sorry, I should have told you that when you were done. Have a good evening, folks. But now that they know that there's people living in that other building,
So would you like me to read the resolution?
Yeah, the only thing that Colin asked if we could put in there, that we're requesting a current SAM, can we do that? Okay, and you can just,
Yeah, I can just read that.
yeah,
Resolved council resolution for subdivision S21-2914 be tabled to allow further investigation and current SAM
be provided.
be provided.
Councillor Bazarowicz is moving it and Councillor Horvis is seconding it. Any further questions, queries? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay. So now we have another, wait a minute, I have to go to my agenda here. That is all the planning items I thought we had.
It is, except we have one resolution to extend the date for the application for S21-2907 Minsky.
Okay, and what
And it's
about,
at the, it's in the resolutions generated on the in camera.
right, and what about subdivision file S21-2906, because that's the next one I have on my sheet here. And that's also one of the resolutions from coming out of camera. 19.2 or 18.2.
Who's that?
Oh, yes, we do have that one as well.
I notice here that.
That one can be done after all the
After?
other ones. yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we will go to subdivision file S21-2907, and that is the Minsky subdivision. You have that one there, do you, Colin?
Yes, I just wanted to, basically, I'm just giving you an update on this one.
Okay,
Because just sort of, maybe just recap with council. We came in with actually a subdivision rezoning back in, I believe it was in August there. And so then from there, council wanted the applicant to come in with a plan, a revised plan for the plan for the subdivision, because there was a couple things that were working with Sam.
right,
And one of them was like, one of the lots didn't have access, which was lot 6. And also council wanted the applicant to look at providing a road to lot 5 area. So the applicant has recently just provided a SAM, which is under circulation. And the
okay,
reason we're asking council to extend the application is because we're gonna have to re-advertise for the road and basically update the report for you as well. We hope to bring this back to November 16th. And this is the SAM that is being circulated right now, and will be brought forward, and with our, of course, report and analysis. So we are seeking comments. And yeah, we also provided a concept plan of what would be done in the future for lot 5. So this is currently why it's being circulated. So,
okay, and we had, at one of our previous meetings, a different plan that council was very happy to see, and it would have been approved right away. Do you have a copy of that one, perhaps?
don't have that. This is the one, that option that the.
This is the option that's being circulated,
Yes,
and that's
that's
what's
correct.
gonna come back before council?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. Are you the Minskys?
Yes.
Okay. So this is not a public hearing, but we did kind of want to chat with you and see why you've changed your plan and made it quite different than what we had seen a few weeks ago. Because we saw a plan where you had the road coming right to the south boundary of your property and not stopping halfway.
Yeah, well, just like Mr. Deepak was saying that one of the, if we didn't put the road, then we could have no entrance to the back of that property, eh? That was the biggest thing.
Right.
That would remain, you could not get to it no way. So by putting a road in, because we weren't allowed an entrance from Ashfield North, right?
Right.
So, but there is one entrance there. So what would work is to give like the 13, I think it's 13 or 12 acre parcel to, because we can't get an entrance there anyway, might as well just take that 13 acres away from the 38, and then my daughter would have an entrance, because we can't get another one anyway.
Right,
And if we built a road with like a roundabout for the future, this would give us entrance to the rear of the property. It wouldn't be landlocked in no way. So I thought that would be, you know, the most, that would develop it, that would have everybody would be able to get.
right, like your daughter's house that's to the south of yours would have access off the service road. And I
That's
think
right.
that was part of the discussion we had last time, is that highways won't allow you any more accesses off of that service road. So you had all the lots that you were wanting to create along Pioneer, and then there was no access to the back of your property behind your daughter's house. Colin, can you blow that up a little bit? Like, I'm having a hard time, and I can't see, it's just as bad behind me, so.
And Mr. Minister has the other one on his computer.
Right. See, that stump road that you're proposing to build, are you actually going to put a full cul-de-sac there, or are you just making it as a dead-end road?
No, a roundabout at the end,
Okay.
a cul-de-sac, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Does that work a little?
Yeah, a little bit better, thanks, Paul. So this is being recirculated, so we're just here to have a bit of a discussion tonight, because as Pawan said, it will be coming back probably to our November 16th meeting if you have all your comments received back.
Yeah, well, I think we will.
Okay.
We kind of circulated, because I know there's gonna be delays to the applicant, so we
Right.
circulated it as it is. We were hoping that it would be like the hearing here, but we want to make sure we do it right in terms of that general public needs to
Right.
have a chance to review too.
Madam Mayor?
Okay, any questions? Go ahead, Councilor
I
Blanchard.
know we're not supposed to have any dialogue, and I'm not gonna have dialogue with the applicants, but in the time between now and when it comes back to our next meeting, planning is gonna continue working with them on this, or is this the applicant's final?
The way I understand it, and Pawan, correct me if I'm wrong, the way I understand it is this is the final, because this is what's been circulated to all the government agencies again.
Okay,
When this comes to our table on the 16th of November, this is what we will be looking at to make a decision,
okay.
okay? I know, I guess the plan that we saw a couple of weeks ago, where you had the road right to the south boundary of your property, and you had a number of lots on that big parcel of land.
That's right.
When we saw that, we were quite pleased, and that's kind of what we were looking for. So when we saw this one earlier today, we were a little bit surprised that it had changed again.
Yeah.
So, any reason why you chose to just do the lots on Pioneer Road now?
The Pioneer, like, there probably would be no way to get to the back, right? We'd have, like, certain amount of property that there was no way you could get to it unless you built a road to the property, and then we'd have like a I call it a roundabout, so you could,
Yeah,
for the future, I'm not necessarily saying that exactly it's gonna go the way it is, but it's a plan in place that's gonna be there.
right, see, and I think the plan that we saw, actually, the north-south road there off of Pioneer,
Yeah,
it was a little bit more to the west, so that when you, if you extended that road to the large parcel of land that you have there,
Mhm.
you could create lots on both sides of it. You still can, but some of them would be quite large, and the ones to the east would be a little smaller, so.
I thought it would be, we're looking for 6. To change it, we're gonna end up with 7, so that would start something new again.
Then we'd have to repost.
Yeah.
Yes. Is that the one?
No,
No, that's the
So,
one with the
Madam Mayor, this is
cul-de-sac.
just, I'm just gonna blow up a concept plan as well, because they provided this as well to our office. Basically, this is how lot 5 would, if someone wanted to come with another.
Right,
So this is the plan to do so. Lot 5, which is where these lots are shown in the concept plan,
yeah,
if the road's built, it would still meet like requirements for road frontage and stuff, if they, of course, provided they build a road, but this is their concept in terms of what they're planning to do.
yeah, see, this plan, when we looked at this plan, I know it was a concept that you may be bringing forward in the future, but I don't know that this council would approve it, because you're now cutting off access to all the land to the south of you. And there's probably hundreds of acres, I don't know, there's quite a bit of land to the south of you. And you would actually, like, if that road continued to the edge of your property, then the next person coming on to subdivide would build their road, and then they would be able to keep going to the south. This way, it actually cuts the people off from subdividing who are south of you.
Our intention was only to do the 6 lots. We were not thinking of going into subdividing the whole acreage. This concept plan came up by the surveyor just in order that we could get the road put in to access the south lot. So, I mean, that other plan that the surveyor had given us just for discussion was to, he said, if you want to subdivide the whole acreage, the whole
Right.
70 acres. But when we've spoken with the planner, he said you only present what you want now, 6 lots. And in order to do that 6 lots, we have to have access to the back, to the south lot. We have to provide a road for it. So our plan changed.
Right. Go ahead. I think you were wanting to say something.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think the situation that's coming up, and let me see if I can bring it up and then we'll try to deal. If you recall in our discussion, you had some ideas, some concepts that you were looking at.
Yes.
And the plan that still produces 6 lots, I think the plan that produces 6 lots, this one here, still produces 6 lots, right? And so I think the
No.
question, yeah, it does, because you don't have to necessarily create these. These could be concept, all these ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You would have still had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here.
Yeah, 7.
But you didn't have to split this one. Right?
And
Just like you're not splitting it in your current plan. Like if I take a look at the one that Pavan submitted, this is not split, right? So it's still 6.
Right.
You see what I'm getting at? Okay, so the plan that was identified here, this one, you
Yeah.
could have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
And 6.
6, 7.
No, 6 only. Because the 2 right behind your property, like the 2 right behind your house, it doesn't have to be 2 lots, it could be 1 large
Correct.
lot.
Yes.
So your daughter's,
Yeah.
yours, the big lot behind you, and the 3 fronting on Pioneer make 6.
See, we misunderstood that. We understood right away if we put that road over, if we moved it over, that would create 3 lots instead of 2 lots on the east side.
correct. But it still leaves only 1 lot here. Because you're still doing it the same way, right?
On the west side of the road,
Let me put them
it's
side by
showing,
side.
it's showing as 2, but it doesn't
It's
have
actually
to be. It can be 1.
Yeah,
But take that out, take those.
take that, if you took this line out, it's still 1, and
Yeah.
that could be as a concept plan for the future. If you took these lines out, this could still be a concept plan. You could still do a bulb right here and not extend the road, but as a future plan, it would allow for a road to come all the way down and allow for future subdivision.
See, when we looked at that, we understood that that was now making us apply for 7 lots, and then
No.
we would have to repost and we would have to do the the whole new application.
No, because this one is existing already, right?
But
Because what you have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what you're doing here. And this would turn it into 7, correct? This would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this large one is 7. And 7 was an issue?
That's, we were all, you know, we were thinking we were applying for 6, so now when 7 came up, now that was changed again, so we didn't know which way to go.
But one's existing, so you wouldn't apply for it,
But
right?
it's still one lot in the subdivision, even though it's the
Oh,
residual.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So basically though, what we're looking at on the right-hand side of the screen is not what was recirculated.
No.
The-
And so the reason that you went to 6 over 7 was why, Virginia?
No, we only wanted 6 to begin with. We never wanted 7. So when we spoke with Cowan, he said you only present what you want. We only wanted 6 lots. The plan on the right, the surveyor gave to us for discussion. So we sent that to Cowan and we asked him, is this something we could use as a concept? But the thing is that we only still want 6 lots. So
I guess either one of them, you could only have 6 lots on either one of them, because on the one that's on the right-hand side, you don't have to separate those first 2 lots off of Pioneer, like they're fronting on your stub road. You can leave those as one parcel.
Yeah.
So you still would only have 6 lots.
Well, I wish I had understood that before, because we automatically assume that means now we have to apply for 7.
So is it better to have the road, the future, to go right to the end of the property and then a roundabout? Would
Yeah.
that help other people?
Yeah.
Correct.
We just don't want you to keep coming back and spending time or whatever, you know?
Yes.
We're trying to, you know,
No,
just,
I understand that, but is it, will it, we don't want everybody else to get landlocked either. I mean, we ought to think of, you know, everybody, eventually a plan will have to come together, right?
Right.
But is it a better idea if like Isaac and Venture made that roundabout the way it was there, and maybe closer to the property line, if there's enough acreage, because it's also, you have to have so much land for a lot, right?
Right.
So we'd have to go right against the end of that property.
It could still come down here. These would be this would be one lot,
Yes.
just like this one, instead of 12 acres. And I'll have to zoom in to find out. So this would be 8 acres.
Yeah.
Just over
Right.
8,
And
yeah.
then what you could decide to do, if it's up to you, but these 3, you could turn into 2 and subdivide later if need be, right? You could have one as a 4 acre and the other as an 8 acre, if you only want to do 6 lots,
Oh,
right? And then you could subdivide that later. And then what you do is you'd still leave this one as a big lot right here.
correct.
And it'll still stay as a big lot, but your bulk, you don't have to build the whole road all the way down. You could build a road right up to here and just build the bulb right here.
Okay. that's
Same way as this, so you're not building any more road than you
Right.
need to do. It's just that this design then allows for a road to continue on at some point in the future,
I
because it
see.
shows that there's a concept going down.
Okay,
If you do it this way, this is the other thing, if you do it this way, your plan was to turn this into 3 lots later, or could possibly, right?
If
On
somebody
12,
could, yes.
on a 12 instead of splitting one over on one side and doing whichever you prefer. But if you moved it over to the right more, what it means is that the road now comes down this side, right? As opposed to down the middle.
Yeah.
And that means these lots over here would be smaller. And they may not be meeting the 4 acre minimum. Correct?
Some will
So
be.
this way, you know that the concept plan will allow for it. This way, now you'd have to build the pie-shaped lots is the only way you can make that work, to to meet the minimum requirement, and that's why I think the question's coming up, which is the better option, and to look at for the future. So you still have options of just joining two of those. You could join these two or those two, and still stick with 6 acres. One's an 8 acre, one's a 4 acre, and the other one is an 8 acre. Right? As opposed to doing a 12 acre and
Yeah.
2 4 acres.
Yeah,
You still accomplish the same number of lots. And you still are able to split later.
yeah, we didn't understand that part of it when we talked to I guess, when Powell or the surveyor, when we saw that plan, we thought, oh, now we're
Too
gonna
many
have
lots.
to apply for 7 lots.
Yeah.
So we automatically assumed that was not gonna work.
But you're in one, you wanna give, that's your daughter's lot, right?
This is the daughter's lot over here.
She's
Yeah.
on,
Oh,
she's
right at the
on
end.
Ashfield.
Nashville, yeah.
And then next to it was gonna be your son, or was it?
Our son is up on Pioneer
Pioneer.
on
Oh,
the
okay.
east side.
On
So
this
next to your
side, so this
daughter-
is your son's lot right here?
Right.
One over.
He's got that lot, well, he wants that lot on the east side of.
Far east.
The far east lot,
Pioneer.
where there are some buildings
That's
on
right,
it.
yeah.
Okay,
There's
so
a
he
shed
could,
there.
so you could still do that one as a 4 acre, and give your son a 4 acre if that's what you choose.
And the
You
next
could
one-
turn this one into an 8 acre, and this one is an 8 acre. 2 8 acres on each side. So that will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the large one, and 6 for your daughter. So that still gives you 6.
So the road would go in between the 4 acre parcels?
The
In
2
between
8
the
acre
four.
parcels, yeah.
Yeah.
But they-
Which, both of those 8 acre parcels could then be turned into 4 acres as an opportunity in the future. So you still can get, and this way, in the future plan, this plan, as you take a look at this one with the concept, if you want to go to the next one, sorry, Tom.
Sure.
On this one, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 as a maximum utilization of the land because that ball turned it into
Yes.
pie shapes and makes it
Yeah.
less. This one, you would be able to get 6. So theoretically, for the person you're selling this large one to, and if they wanted to do the subdivision, they know they can get 6, the land is valued more.
Yeah, we understood that, but we still, we still had the idea that we only wanted the 6, and that's how we had to drop the plan. So then all of a sudden now it changed, so we've talked to different people and we've been so confused over which is the best thing. We talked to Colin and he's given us that information.
He's helped us out in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
it's just that, how to make it work, eh?
Yeah, the challenge that Pavan has, and you know, I have to stand up for the planners, you know, because
Yeah.
my past experience with that, Virginia.
Yeah, I know.
And so Pavan can't design it for you
Right.
as an approver.
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's
as an
what-
RM, we can have that little bit of a dialogue, that's where we're giving you the best options that can help you to deliver this to the best of your abilities.
Okay.
We're not trying to stop it. At the end of the day, you will ask for what you want, and then council will make its decision. We're just trying to give you the best
Well,
option.
and we appreciate that because, like, we had a planner work on it previously and that's the plan we very first,
Yes.
presented. And then all of a sudden that changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as you can
Okay.
appreciate, that one was given with some,
So, yeah, we've been trying any which way we could, make it work.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Councillor Belanger, he's been patiently waiting there, so go ahead, Rob.
The only comment I'm gonna make is the right-hand picture on the other side. That whole road, if it was, I mean, like, it doesn't have to be built right away, but if that's the concept that was gone with, the revenue that one could make on the bottom lots if a developer decided to do it
Yeah.
is revenue in your pocket that you're missing out on. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, so now my question to Powen is, if Kaminsky's choose to go with the right-hand side with 6 lots like they want, the one on the left is the one that was circulated, so do you have to recirculate it?
Yeah, that would be a significant change with the number of lots and orientation, but
Okay.
we would recirculate and we can gear up for, a December meeting.
December 14th
Yeah.
meeting?
But I guess it depends on how long the surveyor takes. I mean, we were still waiting for surveyor to get drawing information, so we were gonna have that ready for this meeting,
Right,
which we could have amended and had another meeting after, so. But we would have to, recirculate again and
okay,
all the changes. It had to
okay,
be circulated anyway for road,
right,
so.
right. Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Minsky, do you need to think about this a little bit and let Colin know in the next day or two what you want to do? Or are we going with the one that was circulated, which is not going to be, in our minds, I guess, the best use of your land?
Well, this is what we were hoping we would get your input, because this is most helpful. We have so many different things told that we were more confused over. And the thing is that, yes, I would like to have 7 lots, but again, then we have to make another application, then we have to, or is it just gonna be an amendment, or like, how does that work?
Well, now they could make for the 7
Well,
lots.
if you wanted the 7 lots and you chose to go with the drawing on the right-hand side of the screen there, you could do that right now.
Right, Pavan, it's going from 6 to 7 lots, is that gonna be a significant change?
Not in terms of amendment costs.
No, so it's
No.
just an amendment,
Yeah,
it's still the amendment, it's the
additional
same
lot,
amendment.
yeah.
So going from 6 to 7, it's just the additional lot fee that you'd be paying for an
Yeah.
additional
Okay.
lot.
And we
But then you'd have a lot.
we're going to have to repost, correct?
We have to do that
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
That was
We
gonna
have
be
to do that
happening
anyway, so.
with this recirculation, so if you're wanting to go to 7, you could still do 7, and then just delay the posting, and it'll be the one posting,
And, okay.
and make it for the December 14th meeting.
Yeah.
What's the cost?
That's something I have to, like, I'm not the accounting department, unfortunately. So
Okay.
That's something
But it's just
hard
that-
to be, you
Is
know,
the cost of the recirculation?
and there might be amendment costs, because this is taking a lot of administration time to circulate again and come back and get things done quick. We're still like in pre-planned design stages here,
Right,
and it's-
Right,
so I have to talk to my office, but we will give them a cost, but at least the one more lot is an additional lot fee, it's $200 something for that, but
yeah.
I'd have to talk to my office.
It used
about
to be 210, I
Yeah.
think, the lot fee.
that. Yeah,
Brenda, Christina, do you remember what the RPD lot fee
I
is?
think I have the
So
additional.
there's a lot fee, the recirculation fee was gonna happen regardless.
Yeah,
Yeah, amendment.
So the only, going to a 7 lots from 6 is about $200 some, maybe a admin fee on top of
That
that.
will be all right
I
with
should-
that.
So then, I just want to let you know, we did not charge them a fee for recirculating this one. It's
Okay.
actually in this, our office,
Okay,
but, I mean, obviously, I have to bring that back to my
Yeah.
office, so.
yeah.
okay.
Okay, so
That's
then what we will do then is we will pass a resolution this evening, but we will do the extension to December the 14th. That will give you people time to meet with planning, get it all redrawn the way you, or with your, I guess with your surveyor to get it redrawn, then with planning to recirculate, and it will come back to us on the 14th of December.
Well, this has been most helpful, that this, I mean, I would think 7 lots is fine with us too.
Yeah.
And if that works, like you were mentioning, you know, for future, then that's fine. We would go for that, that's,
Okay,
So just a quick
Oh.
question, what's these two? Do you know what this was? This is just a measurement for the width?
It looks like it.
Yeah, okay, ignore me.
okay, Colin, you wanted to say something, sorry.
The only challenge, Madam Mayor, is just, it depends on the surveyor as well.
Right,
Because I know that they did really well speaking with the surveyor,
yeah,
staying on top of them and getting this
okay,
to council and getting some information. So
okay,
if I don't get a survey time with enough circulation time,
yeah,
then it's the December meeting, we can bring you another SAM and then say that we need.
well,
more
that's
time.
right, yeah, and I mean, if it can't be dealt with by council in December, it would wait till January, but You know, we need to make sure that the Minskys are satisfied with
Yeah.
what they're proposing, the surveyor gets everything done,
Yeah.
it comes to us, and then if all is well and it looks like the plan on the right, then we would have no problem approving it.
Oh, yeah, we sure wish we would have known that ahead of time, because that would have been fine.
You won't be building road in January anyways, will you? No.
Well,
So-
it's.
But it'd be nice just to get
Get
it
it
behind
done,
you.
yeah. But we'll keep in touch and talk to Isaac and Demchik and
Yeah.
see if they could, it's not much of a change over, the measurements are there, it's just you change one lot, I guess it is, add one more.
You're just moving the road from the right to the left a
Yeah.
little bit, so it should be a
And putting a lot
relatively
Yeah, that's no
quick
problem.
change.
That would have
Okay.
been fine.
Okay,
But I think,
we're,
yeah,
But
as
we
long
were-
as you're comfortable what you're doing.
We were,
Yeah.
the thing is, we were concerned about, we were gonna have to make a whole new application
that's why we didn't,
to make that plan. So we thought,
we'll stick with
which
it.
is, the most approved and the plan which would work for everybody. And that's why we came up with this last one.
Yeah.
But if this one works better, we'll go for it.
Well, I think it will work better for yourselves. You know, you are getting one extra lot, so to speak, and then, you know, you're also leaving room for your neighbors to the south to subdivide at some point in time, and then you still have your big parcel that you can subdivide in
6 more lots.
6 more lots in a year, or 2 or 3 years, so, and it would just be building the road and doing the subdivision for the 6 lots,
Exactly.
so.
The future.
Exactly.
The future with that cul-de-sac, we have to have, like a presentation, we'd have to have it in the drawing that there's going to be a future to the end of that property to the neighbor, right?
It's just a concept showing that the
Yeah,
road
but
can
you
extend,
have
you
to
don't
see
have
it,
to
right?
build a road.
You don't have to build it, it just has
Yeah,
to
but
be
you
shown
have to see it that
on the
constantly.
map.
Perfect, yeah, okay then, we're good.
Go ahead, Pam.
So there's no confusion, and I just want to make sure, at the present state, the way lot 5 is designed right now, the proposed road would have to be built up to lot 5 to ensure that it's frontage to a road.
Correct.
Correct, so the concept, would you be requesting them to show the cul-de-sac right to the end to be
No.
built? Or would it be would that be addressed as?
Cul-de-sac up to, just like they did with the road, up to lot 5 now.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be as big a cul-de-sac now.
Okay,
It could be a smaller cul-de-sac because
Yeah, okay.
it's just a turnaround,
okay,
right?
Yes.
Taking you to the end and that lot has access.
yeah.
Then whoever comes in the future, somebody can just, if they have that as an access, then they'll, but in the future, we know that the road can be extended.
Yeah.
It's there for future.
Yeah,
Okay, we're good with that.
are you good with that?
Most-
I'm good with that, just want to make
Okay,
sure, because we
yeah.
can't be the designers.
Yeah.
unfortunately, so.
Okay, thank you for coming in and sorry for
Okay,
the wait.
thank you for your time.
Thank you
No
very
problem.
much. We very much appreciate your help.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I guess we have one more subdivision here, and that is S 212906 Gloucester's. And I'm not sure, do you have anything on that one? Colin, you look a little
I
like.
think the Gawaski Covenant, it was laid over for legal description just to approve it. We've been able to get all that, and so we're just,
You ready to pass the resolution?
yeah, that's the
Okay,
resolution.
yeah.
And so I have
Yeah,
a resolution here.
Sure. I'll shut it.
And so on the Gawaski, we've done the resolution, it says, and then we'll get that copied over to you.
Okay.
What we've decided on this, or what council has decided is to, just as recommended, get the 2 lots for the road, and then require a development agreement for them to make sure that there's a requirement to pay for a future road at such time it happens. So I'll just read the resolution.
Before you read the resolution, I noticed on the sheet that I've got, that a Zoom link was sent to them, so does anybody know if they're going to be joining us this evening?
I haven't seen them, I haven't seen any new additions to, there's only the three of us. Councilor Spicer's back.
Scott, are you joining us now?
Scotty, yes? Scotty?
Yes, I've been listening.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Okay.
why don't I read the resolution?
Sure.
Okay, regarding subdivision application number S 20-2869, proposal of Goloski to subdivide part of OTM lot 276, Parish of St. Andrews, resolved that council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. Applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from the Arm of St. Clement stating that the following requirements have been met. Taxes on the lands to be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. Development levies to be paid as per bylaw 14 of 2009. A grading plan be prepared to indicate positive drainage on the proposed property to the satisfaction of the Arm of St. Clements and to ensure that the proposed property does not drain onto or impede drainage from neighboring properties. And the digital copy of plan of subdivision be provided to the Arm of St. Clements. As well, applicant owner enters into a development agreement with the municipality to address items including but not limited to an engineered drainage plan and an easement plan if required. A letter of credit to be provided to the Arm of St. Clements for drainage works. That parcels B and C as well as parcels D and E must remain vacant, and a right of purchase parcels B and E for a future road for a present price of e.g. $1 contribution to the future road development cost. Applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro and Central Gas that an easement agreement has been entered into with Manitoba Hydro and Central Gas with respect to any existing and or future facilities associated with the subdivision, and a plan of easement as required by the Real Property Act has been provided. Registration of the agreement will include, as a condition of the final certificate of approval, contact Manitoba Hydro at 12360 Portage Avenue. Applicant owner submits confirmation from the Drainage and Water Rights Licensing Branch of Manitoba Conservation and Climate, and the applicant has satisfied all requirements from that agency, which may include the approval of an engineered drainage plan. For more information, please contact Darren Nicklin, Senior Water Resource Officer at Darren Nicklin at governmentmanitoba.ca. Applicant owner obtains all required variances. Please note applicant to verify site areas, dimensions, or have this information submitted by the applicant's Manitoba Land Surveyor. So does that conform with any, do you have any concerns with any of those?
No.
Okay, so then, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Horvis seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, so I believe that ends our planning for this evening. And I guess, Colin, you can put your things together. You don't have to rush, because we're just going to keep going here, but I know we always forget to tell you you can leave, so. Yes.
Read the resolution, go into camera.
Yep.
Resolve council recess the regular meeting and go into in-camera to discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be it resolved that all matters discussed are to remain confidential as per section 831B of the Municipal Act.
Mover, please, Councillor Boulanger, second, Councillor Strang. Discussion. Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor, opposed, that is carried.
So where's the consularity?
Recording stopped.
Like that, you know? Where's the consularity?
Stop. Okay.
No, not yet.
You know what I mean?
I will now.
Yeah.
Like,
We can talk about it.
yeah, I mean, it's frustrating.